So the Order 1886 came out this week, and it's apparently pretty bad. But if it's any consolation to you, we can game on the PC.
That's actually quite good.
Oh, come on. That was terrible. Hey, what's up? Slunt's Joker here. We are back with a brand new episode of Slunt Tech. We've been on quite the break, but Kurt is back, the original Slunt, the Slunt himself, back from way in episode 1, 2, and I think you did 3 episodes, something like that, right?
Yeah, I think I did that, and it's good to be back. Yeah. It's very good to be back.
Yeah, indeed. We are back. We are in 2015. Kurt's not uber busy with work anymore. He mostly just spends a lot of his shifts looking at computer parts.
It's not the point. Careful, work might see this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, doing research on random amounts of sleeved cables is important work. It's an arduous task, but someone has to do it.
Exactly. Why do it at home when you can get paid to do it instead?
Exactly. Yeah. Talk to me on Skype as well. I hope no one. It's all right. Nobody watches this anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Like the whole of the world. There's no one watching. It's just for our own fun, really, our own amusement, which is really why the topic is what it is today. We're just going to really be gloating about our new PCs. So I don't know if you're out there running some like AMD peasantware, then I'm sorry, but we're going to be really rubbing some salt in the wounds today.
Peasantware?
No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. As long as you're gaming on the PC, that's really all that matters. Whether you're on a budget or if you've got a high-end system, it doesn't matter. But mainly, we're going to be going over our new rigs because Kurt just finished building his upgraded PC yesterday, or rebuilding, I should say, and we'll go into that. And then I've got my X99 upgrade coming up pretty soon, which if you saw the channel update, I mentioned that. And also, I've been doing a lot of talking with the subscribers over on the Joker Productions Facebook page, getting feedback on what parts I should get and why. And, you know, a few things have changed here and there because of that. So that's kind of what we're going to be going over today, and a little bit of news towards the end, but mostly we're going to be talking about our PC builds. So first we're going to start off with Kurt's, because there's kind of an interesting story behind it, so I'll let you take it there. So what led up to you deciding to upgrade pretty much your entire system?
Well, all I wanted to do was play Battlefield Hardline, but apparently it was too difficult.
Yeah, you ended up only getting in one day at the end. After a week of quote-unquote troubleshooting. Tell the audience how you troubleshoot problems with your PC.
The easiest way to troubleshoot is just to buy new stuff, right?
Pretty much. That seems to be his argument. Go on, tell him what happened. And don't forget to leave out the most important bit. What happened right at the beginning.
What happened right? Well, the whole conundrum started when I was like, hey, I need to go and download Hardline Beta, so boot up your machine, and it decided to shut down again. Which is really, really fun, obviously. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just turn it back on again.
Yeah.
So, turned it back on, and it shuts down again. And I was like, oh, there's clearly something wrong with this. So the next day, that was in the evenings, I didn't have time to sort it out in the evening. The next day, I started taking things out to see what was wrong with it. I had a hunch it may be the power supply.
It wasn't the power supply. It was not the power supply.
I pulled out a stick of memory, and it still didn't boot. And I was like, god damn it. So I thought, okay, maybe it is the power supply. So, being the sort of person I am, I bought a power supply.
As you do, you know.
As you do, yeah.
Don't get a
not a cheap one either.
Don't get a 2-pound power supply tester. Don't do that. Just move on.
Yep. So
well, you were saying at the time is like, well, it's not going to be under load on a power supply tester. That's why you didn't want to get one, which, you know,
that's correct.
Is a justifiable thing. But before we move on with the story, I want to point out one thing, is that when this happened, he came to me. He's like, I'm having this problem. I said, it's probably a bad stick of RAM. Continue.
I took a stick of RAM out. It's good. But I took the bad one out. Not the good one, sorry. Anyway, the story continues. So we replaced the power supply, and it still doesn't boot. That's a surprise. So I had a hunch of the power supply because it started going into Windows, and the more you cane the CPU and stuff like that, it was drawing more power, and it was just shutting down afterwards. So I was like, oh man. Anyway. So, of the assumption it wasn't the power supply, I thought, okay, well, it must be the CPU or something. So, obviously, I didn't want to go and buy another same socket CPU as we've got now, so I might as well just buy another motherboard.
Whole new MOBO, new CPU now.
Yeah,
new power supply.
CPU, new power supply. So
pretty much,
now we have those.
Pretty much a new system, almost.
Yep. So we've now got new motherboard, new power supply, new processor.
Yep.
Same memory.
Yep, same memory.
So put that all together, and it's like, oh look, it doesn't boot.
It still doesn't boot. It still doesn't boot. Could you imagine?
So
I couldn't even imagine the sinking feeling at that moment because I've had my screens go black from graphics cards not being seated properly, and I just have that sinking feeling like, what's wrong? And if I actually went and bought new shit and this still happened, I would literally die on the spot. Go on ahead.
And it was a sinking feeling. But anyway, the since the only thing that was left in the system from the old system was the memory and the hard drives.
Yeah.
And the graphics cards. Yeah. And I knew it wasn't the graphics cards because I took those out in the other one. It still didn't boot. And I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be the SSDs doing it.
No.
Because, wow, that would be really weird.
I mean, yeah, plus, SSD boot drive, if that fails, it's just, it's dead. There's no degradation of hardware. It's just, it's there, and then, it's gone.
And, so I took the memory back out, because I put both memory DIMMs back in, and I took one out, which happened to be the bad one at the time, and voila! It was the most stable thing I've ever built.
With one stick of dodgy RAM.
With one stick of memory. And this isn't cheap memory either. This is the Corsair Dominator stuff.
Yeah, we both built our system. Just a little backstory. Him and I both built our systems pretty much like within 2 weeks of each other. Initially, back in what was it, June 2013, something like that. And and our systems were pretty much nearly identical, with the exception that I wound up with two 780s and he got two 690s, which he's now swapped out for two 980s because he's a slut. And he just. Yeah, basically, he just needed to have something better than me, I think.
That's all it was. Needed to up you somewhere.
But it's fine, because now he's got the 4790, and I'm going to one-up him with the X99, so that's just how that goes. And
that is how it goes.
But, yeah, he doesn't really do any content creation on PC side anyway. He's a Mac fanboy. So...
Yeah, I primarily use a Mac day-to-day use, and the Windows machine is just for games. It's nothing more.
Yeah, and why would you use anything else for games, really?
Exactly. I mean, it says to be pretty good. So yeah, we got a whole new PC out of one memory stick. So it's a very expensive debugging process, I guess.
All right. So basically, summary of the story is after a week of troubleshooting all of his problems and spending over £1,000, I'm sure.
So, yeah, I think it's like 1,100.
Well, yeah, that's everything added in afterwards, because as I've been also looking at the parts for my build and, planning it out a really aesthetic look with the black and white theme and the fractal design case, Kurt decided to go ahead and get some sleeved cables as well for his new power supply, some hot looking blue ones, and you'll be seeing all this on your screen now, showing some hot screenshots that he took with his Canon 5D Mark III, because he's a massive whore and he just has obscene hardware and everything better than mine. And it doesn't even really need it on any sort of professional level whatsoever. But never mind that. He's a
bite for the weight.
He's a very high level enthusiast hobbyist. I don't know if you can even combine those two things.
Yeah, we just did it. Don't worry.
It's fine now. We've done it, and it's the Queen's English. So if the Queen says it, it's true. And you'll just put in a good word because obviously you know the Queen because you're British.
Oh, yeah, we have cups of tea every day.
Yeah, tea, crumpets, all fish and chips, and mushy peas, all that good stuff. And scones. Scones.
Moving on.
Scones. Moving on from the scones, yes. But yeah, now that we're done talking about Kurt's amazing build, and you've seen it up there on your screen, with his sexy fucking 980s with their backplates. I'm not jealous at all.
Are you not?
No. Stop rubbing it in. I'm going to be keeping my 780s for the time being, though, because Pascal GPU architecture is probably going to be coming out maybe Q4 2015 or early 2016. But I can hang in there with my 780s a little while longer because they're still. I mean, I get 180 frames on Battlefield 4. Poor me. I don't know how I live with it.
Wow, you must.
I'm really suffering here. Really, really suffering.
You're like a leper.
Yeah, like a leper with AIDS. It's like I'm a leper and I went to Africa on holiday and I got AIDS.
And then you end up with that frame rate.
Oh no!
It must be bad.
No, yeah, terrible. Bad. 180 frames, leprosy, AIDS, just all that bad stuff, and frame rates. 180. But so hopefully we'll be getting better soon. Even more frames, possibly. I mean, I'll probably get like 3 extra frames with this new system on Battlefield. But you know, it's worth it. It's worth it. No,
that's CPU usage, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know that one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. You'll be fine. You'll probably get like 3 frames more.
Yeah, about 3 frames more. It's a worthwhile upgrade. It's totally worth dropping about $1,500 on this upgrade for that.
As I say, that's like $400.
But no, I'm really doing this upgrade for, you know, because of content creation, because I've really started to step up with how often and how frequently I'm doing videos since like the last half of 2014, and now even more so in 2015, adding in things like After Effects and doing more advanced things in Vegas and longer renders and potentially higher resolution renders later on with like 1440 gaming or 4K content. I'm just going to need a heftier CPU, so I'm going with the 5820K, as you'll be seeing on your screen here. Going to be picking that up from Micro Center pretty soon. Basically because they're like $120 cheaper than anywhere else. It's only $300, which is crazy, because everywhere else you go, it's like $380 to $400 something dollars.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cheap. That's like...
Yeah, Micro Center is like...
£250.
Micro Center is like a microcosm in the PC world. It makes no sense.
Is it an OEM?
No, it's just you know, it's just a part.
Retail stock box.
Yeah, but I don't know. They sell like they have like motherboard and CPU combos that are like $200-300 below retail. But they're all pickup only. So you have to go to the store and pick it up, and they only have like a few dozen stores across the whole country. So I have to drive about 45 minutes to go get this thing, but it's worth it to save that money.
Let's say, yeah, it'll probably cost you that in fuel.
Yeah, it's like that's like $15 in gas, man. Gas is really cheap right now over here. It's like $1.80 a gallon. It's like nothing. It used to be like $3 and change. I think.
Yeah, it's gone down a bit over here.
Yeah, we probably attacked an oil well somewhere in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, now everyone's got really cheap gas, so they can get better computer parts at lower prices. That's why we did this.
All right.
We called in 20 missile strikes, blew up 5 schools, in an effort to help Joker get a cheaper fuel to go pick up his CPU. I'm glad we could have this cooperation with Barack Obama. We have a good dialogue, him and I, between ourselves. But to house this bad boy, I've actually not decided yet. Maybe you guys could let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. So the motherboards I'm looking at right now are the Asus X99A and the Asus X99 Pro. Now, these boards are pretty much identical as far as the quality of the hardware is concerned. Same onboard sound, same motherboard layout and style pretty much. Apart from the more expensive one has this white shroud over the I/O back thingy, backplate. What is that called?
Yeah, back
I/O shield, something like that. Yeah, over the I/O anyway. They've got this like white housing over it, a white shroud. Looks pretty nice. Looks pretty sexy. So it will look nice in the build. But I don't really need to pay an extra $65 for that. And the only other difference really is it does have a Wi-Fi built into it, which I also really don't need. So that's why I'm leaning towards the cheaper board, which is $255. Because I could just always get a wireless NIC later on for like $25 anyway if I really need Wi-Fi. Yeah,
the ones on the motherboard aren't very good anyway.
Yeah, they're never really very any good anyway. I think the Asus one's probably okay because the one I would buy is likely an Asus. So they probably make pretty solid Wi-Fi, but I don't really use it anyway. The only time I ever use Wi-Fi on this computer is I have to enable it to play online poker, because gambling is legal in New Jersey, so I can play online poker here, but I have to have Wi-Fi enabled, and I think they do that in an effort to sort of circumvent people trying to use VPNs to get around that. If I had to venture a guess, I'd say that's probably it. But yeah, going with either one of these Asus boards, I was initially looking at MSI, but there were some inconsistencies with them in quality and the brand of RAM modules they support. And I read that there were some BIOS updates to fix this, but apparently they're not still at 100% yet. So it seems like Asus boards are probably the most solid option out there right now for X99 from what I've seen, and also at an affordable price, because some of these boards are ridiculous, like $400 or $500, and not really adding in that much in terms of features, at least for what I need.
Yes, but weird. Oh, they do look hot though.
Yeah, they do look hot. So does yours though. He got the ASRock Extreme 4, which looks pretty nice. It fits in with that black and blue theme.
Yeah, it's got a really hot metallic blue on it.
I mean, you pretty much designed your whole build around that board. Like, you got that board, and it was like, well, I guess that would get everything to match that now.
Yeah,
actually, the power supply was first. That was it. That was black and blue.
Yeah, and Yeah, it is.
And then I think the motherboard was an accident, and then you're just like, well, this is sort of starting to go somewhere. Let's finish it up.
Yeah, I might as well start putting more.
Yeah. And then as far as power supply on the system, either going to be going with the EVGA 1000 or 1300 watt. I already had the 850 watt, but I sent that back because I realized it wasn't going to be enough juice probably for the X99 architecture because it's really power hungry. And I'll probably, I mean, I really only need the 1000 watt, but I might get the 1300 because it's literally the same price on Amazon. It's $179.99 for the 1300 over here, but on Newegg the 1000 watt is $179.99. So, you know, if it comes down to that, or maybe like a $10 difference, I'll probably just go with the 1300.
Are they both fully modular?
Yeah, they're both fully modular. They're both pretty much identical.
Okay.
Identical, same size, everything. It's just one's got some more wattages.
More power. More what?
More wattages.
Watto.
Chuck, watto. Chuck. And then CPU, we already went over. It's going to be 5820K. I know a lot of people were saying on the Facebook page, like, oh, why don't you get the 5930 cables? I'm not going to do 4-way SLI, so I don't need that. I know with this, I'm going to be doing times 16 times 8 for 2-way SLI, but it has no difference at all because PCI 3 is, I think it's, Linus said it's like 16 times faster than what the PCI bus even supports. Something like that. Is it something like that, Kurt?
Yeah, you got so much room.
Yeah.
Even if you go down to 4.
Yeah, you're still
times 4. You're still not using as much as the buses actually support.
Yeah, and the as far as performance difference between PCI version 1 and PCI 3, you're talking about like less than 1%, and that's and even in some cases PCI 1 pulling ahead. So it's really just anything could be causing that fluctuation. There could have been a stiff breeze that came along, and the graphics card ran cooler for a split second, so it got one more frame.
Yeah,
that could have affected it. It might not even have been the PCI in that situation, because it was just a negligible difference. And then finally, it's really just to finish out the build, just a few finishing touches. We mentioned sleeve cables earlier for Kurt's build. I'm going to be getting white sleeved cables, which should look pretty nice, I think. Even some white sleeved SATA cables, which I found here on Mod DIY for a fairly decent price. And then the EVGA kit, which is $90, which has the full set of cables, which, you know, might sound ridiculous to spend $90 on sleeved cables, but if you go, I mean, you looked around on the custom sites, Kurt, they're ridiculous to buying the individual ones.
They are, especially the odd ones like the 24-pin, they're just ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, I was looking, because of Jay's 2 cents, he had mentioned that before he got Sanctum sleeving, which his website is still not up, he was using Lutro Customs, and I was looking at theirs, and their 24-pin cable alone was $60.
Oh, wow.
$60 for one cable.
So expensive.
So to get this from EVGA branded sleeved cables, which they have in multiple colors, and it's the full kit. Everything that comes with the modular power supply, including 2 8-pin CPU connectors in case you're running like dual Xeon boards, or if you have like that JPR W2 connector on your motherboard that delivers extra power to the graphics cards. I think it's JPR W2. I might be off by like a letter there or something. But yeah, it has everything. It's got ridiculous amount of cables, like just extra cables. You're gonna have plenty of leftover cables just sitting around. Probably maybe do like fucking 2 builds with it. It's that many.
It'd be really good if you could buy power supplies without the cables.
Oh.
Because you basically, when you're buying the actual the power supply itself, you're spending half the money on the cables, which you don't need.
Yeah, because if you go look on the websites for replacement cables, they're ridiculously expensive. Mm-hmm. You're close to $100, even just for regular plain cables that aren't sleeved like these and look really, really hot.
Mine weren't too expensive. I think I paid $25 for the kit.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I was looking at that compared to this.
For the 24.
Yeah, well, it didn't have the 24, which is like, what, £20 on its own?
15. But I only used like 4 cables out of it.
Yeah.
It's not really expensive.
Even so, though, I think that your kit, even with the 24-pin, was a lot cheaper than the EVGA.
And they're branded.
Yeah, and it's the Corsair branded one that they have. So Corsair's got not all the manufacturers actually do full kits like this. Some of them will do individual or not at all, and you'll just have to go get something like from DIY Mod or Sanctum Sleeving or Lutro Custom, something like that, a custom job. And those things get really pricey. You're talking upwards of close to like $150 plus to get a full set of individual cables or even just cable extensions. Because the kits like this, when you're getting the flow cables, they're not going to work with every power supply. You have to get one specific to your power supply to make sure the pin layout matches. So, I mean, a lot of people will just wind up getting extensions that they can hook onto the end of the cables that are already running out of their power supply, but then you don't have them running to the PSU, so you're losing that consistency there, which I don't think anyone wants.
And you got loads of cable you need to dump somewhere.
Yeah, then you're gonna have loads of extra cable on the backside of the PC. Like, good luck closing the door on that.
Yeah, that's the problem. People stick it out the back, and then they realise they got like a mound of cable they can't do anything with. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's like if you did. I know you when you were shopping for your case. You saw the NZXT H440, the back door when it closes.
Yeah,
yeah. If Hardware Canucks did a video about it, and the padding on it is so thick, and there's so little space back there when you put on the back door that it just leaves a massive imprint permanently in the padding, the soundproof padding, which is just insane. And thankfully, I'll be having a chance to look at that soon, hopefully, if Razer gets it sent out. I sent them my details, or NZXT, I should say, sorry. Hopefully be looking at that case in the coming weeks here on the channel. But now, moving on from our builds, a little bit of news to go over this week. First off, DirectX 12 is looking like it's coming pretty soon, or at least support for it. Obviously, there's not really any games coming out anytime soon, or anything that's actually going to use it, apart from the Star Swarm benchmark. Whoop-de-doo. It's not even a really good looking benchmark, honestly.
No, I think it's just really taxing for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, it was really designed for the Mantle API and AMD just to make that look good. But apparently that's not really going AMD's way now, because with the DirectX 12 driver starting to surface on Windows 10, it looks like Nvidia is just pulling ahead by a country mile and just absolutely stomping AMD into the ground. Sorry, AMD fans. It's a sad, sad day to have to admit that Nvidia is just better. It's just better.
Better for support, at least. Anyway.
Oh no! I mean, they both have their good things and their bad things. It's just for our particular needs, since we're graphics whores, and we like all the Nvidia GameWorks stuff, which I know a lot of people argue is bad for the industry having specific stuff like that. But I mean, it's open, and AMD could use that stuff. It's there for them to use. They just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because they'd have to have a whole team of coders coming in to optimize this stuff for AMD, and they just can't be fucked. It seems like
that's probably what it is.
Go on.
They have to probably change hardware as well.
Yeah,
because don't forget the Nvidia chips have also got dedicated chips just for certain stuff.
Yeah. But they moan about it though. AMD moans about it, like, oh, they have this PhysX and this stuff, and we can't use it.
No, you can.
No, you can. You just don't want to. It's like you guys did TressFX and Tomb Raider. Guess what? Nvidia fucking supported it, and it works. Yeah. It didn't work amazing at first, especially in SLI, but now it works okay.
Yeah, the really like static hair everywhere mode.
Well, yeah, that was only with SLI. With SLI, the TressFX was kind of buggy for like the first year or so. Yeah,
it was, but it was really intense as well. It's like, wow, 100% usage on a card for some sexy hair.
But I appreciate the fact that NVIDIA at least took the time to get it sorted out and get it working.
Oh yeah, it's really good now.
It's like, yeah, it's good now. And so why can't AMD sit down and say, okay, Metro Last Light, that game's got a lot of amazing PhysX. Our users would probably like to use the advanced PhysX if they had the option, but they're just not going to allow you. So you just have regular PhysX, and I don't even know what that looks like.
It's just physics.
It's just physics. It's like, that's not PhysX.
Just physics. Anymore, it's just no X, it's just physics.
Well, it's like, well, if it was PhysX, that cloth would be moving, and I'd be able to tatter it with my gun. But clearly it can't. It's just a static piece of cloth. Static physics.
It does make a difference.
It just makes it look nicer, and it just adds to, I don't know,
the immersion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even though I don't think the cloth looks that amazing. Like in the Metro Last.
It doesn't, but at least it moves.
It moves, but it looks like it's pieced together almost.
Yeah, you can see like the triangles of where it's sort of.
Yeah, it's like little squares almost put together like a quilt, and it's just like you could just tell each individual one is moving rather than one big sheet. Which I guess maybe that'll be the future. Maybe they can't do big sheets right now.
Well, Battlefield 4 had pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff in it.
some of these games have really good physics on cloth, like flags and stuff like that, and it looks good and it moves around. But it's also like just pre-animated like that. You can't interact with it. You can't shoot it. You can't blow it up and watch little pieces fall on the ground, like in Borderlands, even though that was terribly optimized.
Let's just move on from Borderlands.
Yeah, Borderlands. Blah. Got so bored with that game. It was good, but now it's just boring lands. Oh, I went there. I went there.
Wow.
And then last bit of news to round up the show is there's a leaked driver for Nvidia 349.72, which is already making its way onto Windows 10, and this is basically adding in DirectX 12 support. So it looks like this could be right around the corner with GDC 2015, just about a week away. So looks like we could be seeing DirectX 12 support coming in soon, so all of us can run the Starswarm benchmark really fast. Yay!
Oh, yes. It's going to be amazing. I mean, have you read these release notes? They're really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, please, Kurt, tell me more. Tell me more.
So, for all of you lovely people with 2 graphics cards or more, so your SLI, it only supports single GPU mode only.
Just one.
Yay.
Just one GPU?
Just one. You know, you can have one just sitting there looking nice.
Yep, pretty much.
What else have we got?
Hey, man, it supports SLI and Shadowplay.
Yep. Known issues on the driver. So, limitations we've got are Maxwell GPUs don't perform very well, apparently. You may experience some suboptimal DirectX 12 performance with Maxwell architecture. Great! So all the new cards are basically going to run like Gash.
Now, you would think that would be something with older architecture, not the most recent one. Like, you would expect to say, oh, yeah. Hang on. You might expect them to say, like, oh, yeah, we're having trouble with, like, the 400 and 600 series cards. Upgrade. Not the 900 series.
And what tops it off is that you've just gone and spent £800 on these 2 cards. You've gone and bought a new monitor, and you basically
G-Sync monitor.
G-Sync, and then it says, does not support G-Sync.
3D Vision or SLI.
3D Vision or SLI.
Basically, this is Kurt's system what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Basically, they're saying, we support everyone except Kurt. Oh, man.
Oh, God. It's going to be so bad. I'm sure it'll be sorted at some point.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I hope DirectX 12 doesn't just break SLI support, because that's...
Yeah, imagine that. Like, oh, yeah, it's going to take us... We'll fix it at a later date. And then there'll be that one guy just like, I don't know what you're talking about. SLI runs fine for me, just like on Company Heroes 2.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on it. I
still
still watch that YouTube video every so often just for a laugh.
Just so I could chime up that music.
Look at it. Look at that lovely flickering texture.
I'll probably...
Because I can't compute snow across 2 graphics cards.
I'll definitely overlay that in here. That's from an old Angry Fat Guy video about SLI support of Company Heroes 2. Some of you guys might not have been with me that long, but I'll go ahead and paste in part of that here so you can see what we're talking about. Because it's worth a watch. It was just dreadful. It was dreadful, and it still is. There's just... They don't... If you even try to force SLI in Company Heroes 2, it's just like, no. Just no.
It was so disheartening playing that game. I was running with 2 690 4 680 cards, and I just got like 32 frames max on it.
Yeah, imagine having 4 GPUs and just like, nope. Nope.
No.
Don't want to. You sure? We'll give you cake? No.
But apparently, what was the excuse? Sorry, we
can't fix the snow.
Bus speed. The bus speed is not fast enough for the memory to go across the 2 cards to compute the snow.
Yeah, because...
The footprints in the snow or something?
So yeah, basically it was the snow, because as the round would go on, basically the topography of the map would become more and more degraded as there would be battles and troop movement, things like that. So you would see way more footprints as the round would go on, and basically the memory bus couldn't keep up with it, and it just wouldn't work with SLI, and it couldn't relay the information quickly enough across the bus. Not the memory bus. I said that wrong. The bus speed across the SLI bridge, I guess. So, yeah,
it is the biggest load of bull ever.
Yeah,
I mean, they've made software that apparently doesn't run on anyone's hardware.
Yeah, they just never fixed it. Just like, no, it's fine. We'll just leave it. At least even though it still works like a pile of gash, I'll at least credit Sega for adding in SLI support for Total War Rome 2.
Yeah.
At least they tried.
It does. Well, yeah, it still runs like absolute gas.
It gives you like what'd you say yesterday, like 8 frames in Attila.
Yeah, it's like 7 to 10 frames more.
Yeah, well,
So
it might get,
once
it
you
might
bought
get
that
better.
extra card.
Well, I remember when the SLI support came out, it said that it would increase performance in Total War Rome 2 by up to 80%, which was a load of bull.
8 frames more like.
Yeah, that's the 80%. Is 80% of 1. or 10, I should say.
Yeah,
that's the math. That's the math's right there. Very, very important to have your math skills up to par here on Slunt Tech. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Slunt Tech, guys. I hope you did enjoy it, and I'm glad Kurt was finally able to come back because, the show's been struggling without him. And when I say struggling, I mean not happening at all. So
yeah, a bit of a difference.
Yeah, hopefully now that he's got his webcam and he bought a light bulb, as he's now got a light bulb, we'll actually be able to film more because, time difference and stuff like that. Some of the timing winds up happening where it's the evening over there and he couldn't really shoot well and have the video feed look good. So hopefully we'll be able to do this more consistently now. Probably not every single week, so I don't want to commit to anything like I did initially, where I was saying that we'll do an episode every Monday. Ideally, I would like to get to that point someday, but it's just not realistic right now, just mostly because of his schedule. I'm always here and ready and willing able to do it, but it's just not always feasible, and I don't want to guarantee it to you guys if I can't deliver on that. So there will be Slunt Techs sometimes. Yeah. That's about the best I can give you on that. There will be there will be Slunt Techs.
Yeah, we both get together, have some cool stuff to talk about. We'll give you something.
Yeah, if we're not distracted by playing too much Operation Metro, which we'll be doing probably in about 10 minutes time after I get a coffee.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Let's go.
Yeah, we need to go drop people with MG4s like a bad habit. But that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please stick a like on it below. Don't forget, if you want to follow me on social media, you can do all that on Facebook and Twitter at JokerSlunt. We'll catch you guys next time. Ta-ra!
Ta-ra!
What you gonna do, brother, when SLI support runs wild on you?